exciting episode with Congressman Darell Issa. Those of you who do not know Congressman Darell Issa, he has represented California 49 in the past, and this time he's representing California 50, is a U.S. congressional seat, and we have been very vocal about supporting him and working with him because of his exciting track record and also his commitment to our community. Our community is growing and it has become one of the largest and also a very contributing community to North America, especially USA. And so it's my great honor and privilege to speak with him today. And I hope you all will be inspired and come forward to support him and support us in our endeavor to bring political representation to all the American Hindus. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back on. And it is a difficult time. I know that we'll wait till the end to talk about the current situation with the virus and the CDC, but it dominates everything, including, to be honest, the reason that we're doing a video, which would seem unusual in some cases, but not a bit unusual today, where most of the television we're watching people remotely. You know, one of the challenges that we face today, and one of the biggest challenges we face, are finding people who are ingenious enough to be part of a changing workplace. And I think that's one of the areas that the American Hindu community can be very helpful. There's no question there's been a long history of ingenuity and development and entrepreneurship that's come from the Indo-American community, and it's one in which we're going to be counting on more of that in the not just in the future, but every day, including today. And so I think this is one of those times in which, as somebody who I know I'm returning to voting in January of next year, but between now and then, we have a lot of work to do if we're going to have our country be able to come out of what is going to be at best a recession, and in some people's minds could be a short depression, and turn it into an opportunity to be even better coming out of this in the way of productivity in all areas of our economy.
So, Congressman, the American Hindus come from within USA, from Europe, from Jamaica, and all other countries, parts of the world, who have made this country their home. And it's a large community, which is oftentimes not counted in the census or anywhere else. But through faith and through connection to Hindu scriptures, many of these American Hindus have never gone to India as well, because India is not their home. Their home is Fiji, their home is Australia, their home is Africa or somewhere else. So what are in your, how do you see the role of American Hindus coming up in USA?
Well, you know, even though the population of India makes India the largest democracy on earth, and to be Hindu is to be a minority, but to be Indian, of course, is to be part of a very large over 1 billion people. But what we have in common, and the reason I smile when I make that answer, is I'm Lebanese. I have cousins in Jamaica. I have cousins in Canada, in France, in Britain. We too are a people who have found ourselves always a minority everywhere we are around the world, but we've been a minority of people who have made a difference in the cultures and the countries we've joined. And I think here in America, the similarity can't be missed. We're a people who do not have the advantages of, if you will, sort of looking like your Harvard best and finest upper crust. And we don't usually have the advantages of connections. If we get funding because our ideas are better, not because our father has a connection at the bank. And I think that for the Hindu community is the same challenge that makes accomplishment so much more important, is nobody's going to give us anything. We're going to get our success because we work harder, because we network with people, no matter who they are, fellow Americans and people around the world, no matter which side of a particular issue you are. The undeniable truth is that it is, in fact, immigrants, particularly immigrants who come to the United States as minorities, that have proven to be the best entrepreneurs. So what am I hoping for? I'm hoping for, just as my people have a tradition, the Lebanese, of being entrepreneurs, that we see a much greater degree of ingenuity and entrepreneurship coming from the Hindu community.
You work to help American Hindus when you get into Congress?
You know, there are a number of areas that I think we can work together to advance American Hindu accomplishments. One of them is informational. There are so many opportunities that simply maintaining a dialogue of what is happening in Congress on immigration reform, on commercial opportunities around the world, and emerging research money. These major areas, communication can be everything. I often tell people, when I represented until last year the University of California, San Diego, I would receive daily, almost every day of the week, notices of new grants that were being granted, over $1 billion in grants to the University of California at San Diego every year.
Yeah, I heard that.
You can imagine that if that information is freely exchanged, it tells emerging and ambitious young people, or not young, where the opportunities are. And so I think an open exchange and dialogue is going to be our most valuable tool.
Yes. No, I have seen your contribution towards the amount of legislation that you have moved when you were CA 49 are phenomenal, and we have seen that, and we have the full record of that. And I think people have all kinds of opinions, but very few congressmen have delivered the way you have done in CA 49. We have seen that. And
well, I appreciate that. I never take any credit for that. I was lucky. Not only did I gain the seniority and the position, but I also represent one of the most entrepreneurial and brilliant development areas in bio, in telecom, and so on. And so I always say the people of the 49th, 50th, these related areas, they earned it. I simply was the person who delivered it. Sort of like you thank the mailman when he delivers the mail, but the check that comes in the mail, you earned.
No, that's your humility, I think, and and I'm sure that CA 50 will flourish more with you upcoming, and we are openly backing you, so there is no reason of us to even decide on it. My third question is, and we as a Hindu community want to give more than what we receive, and so we want to ask you as a community, how can we help you in your campaign and GOP also across USA, and Americans for Hindus for 2020 elections is openly supporting GOP. We are not supporting any Democrat candidate today. And so how can we help you in your campaign and your reach, not only in CA 50, but across the USA completely?
This is a most important question, I think, that can be asked, is how do we grow a party that believes in the individual? How do we grow a party that believes in individual liberty? It can only be done by people who've seen that party for what it is, the party of liberty and opportunity. I want to be always one of those people who promotes the party and promotes those values, and to the extent that within the 50th I can be helped as an entrepreneur and as somebody who wants individuals to flourish and thus make our whole economy flourish, yes, that's helpful. But I think the second part of what you said is the most important. We have to grow the understanding that there are two competing parties in the US. The party of individual opportunity and the party of group opportunity. And individual opportunity, which creates a much more prosperous group, has been proven to be a success. We just have to sell it to the rest of the country.
Absolutely. And needless to say that the American Hindu values are very much closely aligned with GOP. And the inference is that the Hinduism is a capitalistic philosophy. It is based on individual exceptionalism, whatever you call it. May not be bad, maybe bad words with the leftist. I call them libtard loonies, liberal retards. So maybe bad word for them, but we are definitely not leftist. We are very straight thinking people, and we think that country comes before us. That's a core Hindu philosophy. We live in this country, we are grateful to this country, and we want to do everything possible to make this country flourish and shine. That's why we all made our home, this country as home. So we are very grateful to USA as a whole. So my one last question to you, or is a COVID-19 thing. So
Yes.
what is your message? Because all of us are quarantined, and so Zoom is the biggest public forum we got here.
I think all of us have to spend as much time as we can planning and beginning the process of returning to work. And what I mean by that is, for some people, they haven't missed a step. They're doing almost exactly, if you're a programmer, maybe you're programming as many hours as you ever did. But in so many cases, the return to work is a matter of figuring out what tools you're going to need in the way of personal protection, perhaps looking at your company and saying, the company I work at, what could I do to help make sure that company could begin producing something that maybe it's not producing now? That planning, in other words, a million minds are better than any one mind or 100 minds you're going to find in Washington. And I think as we've seen the evolution of this war, this World War III, the war against the coronavirus, what we've discovered is that any one person had ideas, but over time, these ideas have grown, and our understanding has grown because more people are bringing input. Well, that's understanding the virus and finding a cure. But finding ways to be productive as a country, we're going to need everybody looking at their particular work, which, by the way, includes people who work at home already. We're going to have to do that. So I think everyone producing those plans, comparing them, social networking them, is going to allow the United States to be the most productive country under whatever restrictions we might have for the maybe even many months, depending upon how quickly we can get back to work.
Absolutely. I think American Hindu doctors they treat every eighth patient is treated by them. And I think they're mostly very busy with responding to the federal calls now. And after this temporary coronavirus quarantine thing is over, I think the American economy is going to turn out to be much more stronger than any other country ever imagined. So I thank you for your time. And do you have any last message to the community? Video is going to go to a lot of people in the country.
I think America's counting on people to come up with ideas to bring us back to not just the productivity we had, but an enhanced productivity. And I'm looking to the American Hindu community to be a big part of that. I know the ingenuity is there individually and cumulatively, and I look forward to working with everyone in the community to get those ideas to the president.
Yeah, thank you, Congressman, for your time.
Most welcome.